Feel or groove is really a sense of swing or a person's rhythmic sense. Do they play in a way that makes you want to move? Whether it's dancing or tapping your foot or moving your head or even jumping around in a mosh pit, does it make you move? I'm talking about human beings playing music that is not metronomic or quantized. Let me give you an example. This is the DAW Pro Tools. This is my digital audio workstation of choice. I've been working in it since 2001. What you're seeing here on the screen is what we call a grid system. Now I have this grid set up to certain note values. This could be set up to either a 1 bar, so this length here is 1 bar, 1 bar, 1 bar. That means 4 quarter notes. It could be half notes, it could be quarter notes, eighth notes, or 16th notes. Okay, before we go any further with this, I want to define this term quantization or quantizing. So quantizing is where you determine which rhythmic fluctuations in a particular instrument's performance are imprecise or expressive. You cut them and you snap them to the nearest grid point. So once you've done this, depending on the level or strength of the quantization or quantizing, you'll have a machine-like precision if you really quantize it to the 16th note, let's say, removing all the human elements or variations, which I call groove or feel. If you do this though, you can take any part of the performance and cut and paste it and move it anywhere else and place it on the grid on a particular subdivision. Now there are 2 pieces of software, they're called plugins, that were invented right around the same time that actually led to the death of rock music. The first is Beat Detective. That killed the groove. The second is Auto-Tune. That killed the humanity. This is what I believe led to the death of rock music as a worldwide movement in the mid-2000s. Okay, let me show you how to actually quantize a drum part. I'm going to isolate this and I'm going to play it. So that's just a couple bars. I'm going to count it for you. Listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. If I'm looking at it, right here's a kick drum on 1. Right here is a snare on 2. I'm going to zoom in so I can see it's really close. Now, if I look at the actual beat, I've cut the kick drum to land exactly the transient here, to land exactly on the first beat. But as you notice, by the time it gets to the second beat here, if we're going to say the snare is on 2 and 4, the second beat, the snare is a little bit behind, okay? Then as we move ahead, we go to the next kick drum, and it's more ahead. This is actually where the beat is. If I snap the grid here, this is more ahead. Okay, I'm not even talking about the cymbals that are going on or anything. Like there's, for example, there's a ride cymbal here. It's this far behind where the grid line is. And then this snare is a little bit ahead. You can see it's ahead of this. This is actually where the grid line is right here. Pretty interesting, right? That is called feel. Now when you listen to it, that feels great, right? What happened in 2001 is Pro Tools or Digidesign invented this thing called Beat Detective. Let's take a look at this. Okay, this is the old version of Beat Detective here. You see it's got the little detective there. It talks about things, bar, beat marker generation, groove template extraction, region separation, region conform, edit smoothing. When you click on this, or when you used to click on that, it would bring up these lines that would go in front of each transient. Essentially what you do is you hit region separation, it separates them all, then region conform, it slides them to each grid point, and then the edit smoothing puts fades in. Let's actually beat detect a couple bars of a drum part. Okay, I'm going to beat detect 4 bars of this drum part right now. So I have them highlighted. I'm starting on beat 1, as you can see right here. It says 80, bar 80, beat 1. Okay, and then it ends at bar 84. So I'm going to bring up Beat Detective, Command 8, there's Beat Detective. Now, what you do is you're in bar and beat marker generation, you hit Analyze, so it's analyzing this, then I start going in like this, and I can select the strength of, or how hard you want to quantize this. Now, I'm going to zoom in a bit here. I'm going to start looking at the transients. These are the attacks of each drum hit. Sometimes you have to actually go in and you physically will move these, right? Because they may not
get caught perfectly. This one I'm gonna have to move here. This is really tedious stuff. There are people that go in and do this. This is called pocketing. Sometimes things like this are not put in, so you actually just put in a detector, go through, and right there, that's not quite on the kick. And people actually do this. This is why music sounds like a computer or like a drum program. Go like this. This one you move a little bit. So right now I am doing what they call pocketing. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at each of these. These are a little bit off. I'm going to move them. Boom, boom. That looks on. You see how boring this is? There are people that go and they do this on every drum track of every song. This is essentially what happened in the 2000s, is that every song had this done to it. So essentially, I'm going to quantize this drum part here. I'm going to go here, hit clip separation. That's going to separate them into individual regions. Okay, so that's done that. Now I'm going to hit clip conform, and that's moved them. Okay, so it actually moved ones that were behind, it moved ahead, ones that were ahead, it moved back. Okay, then I'm going to hit this, edit smoothing. I'm going to fill the gaps. I'm going to play it and listen to it before I put any fades and listen. That sounds good, okay? Now I'm going to go in here and go fill and crossfade. So what this is going to do is it's going to put crossfades in, as you can see, so that there's no clicks or pops, right? Now, here it is. Now, you don't even know what song this is. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to play it. I'm going to unmute it. Listen. It's Burden in My Hand by Soundgarden. Matt Cameron is such a good drummer, he doesn't need this done. In the 2000s, for the most part, every song was quantized to the 16th note. I'm going to show you right now.
Okay, I'm going to start with the song I Miss the Misery by Hailstorm. I could have picked any song. I just happened to pick this one. I'll just play you a little bit of it so you know the song. You can hear the click track that I put in there. If I put it into grid mode, there's a snare. It's right on the beat. You can see it. Watch. I'll play it. I'll solo it with it. That is a quantized drum part. I'll go to the verse. It's the same. Every single hit in the song is directly on grid. It is quantized. Not everything. That's a little bit off. That's a little bit behind there. But all the main kicks and snares. The funny thing is, you can take this. I can go like this and change the beat. Instead of it being like this, instead of da-da-da, listen, da-da-do-da. No problem. I can put this in any weird places, right? Add it. I could take this snare and I could move this snare too and go like this. Whatever. I could take it and move it. Let's say I move it here. This is the thing when you put everything on grid, it's just like a drum program then. Here we go. Listen. It sounds perfectly fine like that too. That could have been the drum part. Here's what it was originally. Anywhere that I go in the song, it's going to be on grid, if you can find it there. I mean, if I go here in the song, whatever, it's always on grid. Everything is on grid because it is a live drummer that has basically been turned into a drum machine. Not only that, but every bass part, every guitar part, anything can be flown around now. So they just sing the chorus one time typically, and then they fly it. You know, I could go, I could take a vocal part. I mean, look at that. You can do anything, really, right? I could take this and maybe move it here. It doesn't really matter. Look at that. It's everything that you have in here can be put anywhere on the grid. The bass, here's the bass part. This bass part could really be doing anything, right? I can go, I can take out those breaks, right? Well, I think it's kind of cooler like that. Maybe this note should just keep going like this and fill in the gaps or something, right? That's kind of cool there. Let's check out another song. Okay, next song that I pulled up is Rockstar by Nickelback. Once again, lined it up on grid. You can see here by the kick drum, it's right on grid. And I'll just play it with a click, and you can tell just from the click. I just wanna be big rock star. The girls come easy and the drugs come. You can see the bass is dead on. Every bass note has been quantized. Also, not only the drums, but the bass, but every one of these drums, once again, is made like a drum machine, okay? So I could play this drum part instead of... you can hear that snare is a sample. I think you should go da-do-da-on. Whoops. Let's say we go like this here. Do-do-do-da-on, like that, listen. Probably have to pull that back out a little bit. Oh, that's kind of cool, right? Or just go like that. Or go like that. But then you can be like, there's a little fill. Down, down. We need to go. Down, 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 down. There, I just changed the bass part. I mean, really, I can do anything. I can put this note here. Let's say, oh yeah, that's cool. I like that. Let's see. We all just wanna be big rock stars and live in hilltop houses driving. That's actually kind of cool. But you can do the same thing with vocals, right? I just wanna be big. All this. Because we all just wanna be big rocks. The vocals are a little bit ahead. You can see if I zoom in here, he's so all those vocals are put, that note right there, you can tell is ahead. And he's doing that probably so that it actually has some energy, because I can see the attacks are all in front of the groove. Rocks doesn't live it. Rocks doesn't live it. If I put that stars right on the beat. Rocks doesn't live in hill. Rocks doesn't live in hilltop. Here it is, not on the beat. This is ahead of the snare. Rocks doesn't live in hilltop. It actually gives it a little bit of movement there. With everything else quantized, you kind of want that, you know? But really the bass, I mean, you can look at the bass and see, well, it's a little bit behind there. But for the most part, let me put it in grid mode here. All the drums are definitely, I mean, you can do crazy things. I can put it in 16th notes. I can make the drums go like this. But look. You have a little metal in there. I could do this with a snare. I probably got to let's do something like that. You can change the whole progression. That's why this is just like you're basically programmed. Okay, this wasn't just in nu metal and rock, it was in alternative rock too. It's in everything. Anything that's on a major label, almost everything is done like this. Here's All American Rejects. You guys know this song. You can hear it with a click. It's all dead on with a drum machine. It's all, I'm going to zoom in here, we'll look at it, but it's all, every note is on grid, as you can see, right? Every single thing. It's a programmed part. It was played and then it was quantized to death, right? So, I mean, I could make it do, I don't know, And I mean, anything. You can really take it and, let's see. Ooh, that's nice. And I can do the same thing here. Let's see. Maybe do, yeah, so. Yeah. Dig it, doing, maybe. That's kind of cool. That's a little bit cool. Let's see what that sounds like here with the guitars. Now all the guitars are all done on grid too. You can hear it. It just sounds like a sequencer because it's a sequencer. Those are just the same things. Looks like pretty much the same things just copied over. Let's see here. I mean, you may as well. Right? That's kind of cool. I like that. Let's see. Oh, yeah. That's actually better than the original, I think. You know, anything is possible with this stuff. It doesn't matter where you go in the song, it is all quantized. It's just had the life completely taken out of it. None of it is real. It's just all manufactured music that's been pitched and pocketed, gridded and auto-tuned all the way through. So songs from previous eras were not quantized like this, rock songs. They just weren't, and they sound like they're played by humans. If you take Rage Against the Machine, People of the Sun. Yeah. You guys know that song. It's the first song off Evil Empire. It's a killer song. So the verse ranges from 91 to 94 BPM. The chorus is at 93 BPM. Verse 2 starts at 93 and speeds up to 98. Chorus 2 goes between 94 and 96 BPM. And the reason is because it's not assembly line production. The guys that produced these records that I played you, that's all assembly line. They have one person play at a time. They pitch and pocket it, meaning they quantize it and auto-tune it. It's all on grid and never changes tempo. There is no flow, there's no feel. I mean, to me, it doesn't even sound like real music because it's kind of not like real music. If we took the song Burden in My Hand, okay, so that starts out, no drums at 93. The first chorus is 91 to 92, so it actually slows down a little bit. Verse 2 is at 92, chorus 2 is at 91, 92. Obviously, it's not on grid. Now, if we go back in time to a song like Back in Black, let's take a look at that. So that starts in the first verse at 90 BPMs. First chorus is at 95, so 5 beats faster. Second verse slows down a little bit, 92 to 93. Second chorus is back to 95. And the solo is 93 to 94. Why? Because it's all people playing together. It's real. Whole Lot of Love. No drums in the beginning. 88 to 89. Chorus 1 is 91 to 93. Verse 2 is 92. Chorus 2 is 94. And the guitar solo slows down to 87. It's unbelievable, right? Here's the last one. This one has a lot of tempo fluctuations. Roxanne. Verse 1 goes between 131 and 134 BPMs. Chorus 1 is way up to 137, 138. Verse 2 then is down to 133, 134. So it slows way down. You can hear it right at the beginning of that verse. It slows down. And then the chorus is 138 to 140. That's what real music does. It moves around. You see, music actually happens in between the grid lines. So if people wonder why rock has completely died in popularity, it happened in the early 2000s. And it's because of Beat Detective and Auto-Tune and a bunch of producers that were honestly too lazy to get people to play their parts together. That's all for now. Please subscribe here to my Everything Music YouTube channel. If you're interested in the Beato book, go to my website at www.rickbeato.com. Follow me on Instagram at rickbeato1. And if you want to support the channel even more, check out the Beato Club. You can find out about that on my website as well. Thanks so much for watching.